Welcome to Fiber Trek. This is episode 27, and it's January 17th, and I'm flying a little bit by the seat of my pants today. My husband is due to arrive home, and I have some homework to get done and some dogs to walk, and so I wanted to make sure I got this recording out and in a timely fashion. So I know, I guess I'm sacrificing, oh my god, my speech is wearing off on me. I'm sacrificing, not sacrificing, quality for quantity, would that be? But I mean, I still think that this has a lot of possibility to be an okay episode, even though I don't have my show notes. That being said, welcome to new and returning visitors, viewers. See, I need my show notes. I'm so glad you have joined me. I have a feeling that this episode may be a little bit shorter than normal. I didn't prepare textiles in time, but I have some finished objects to chat with you about, and a donation and some spinning, and then works to put on the needles. So chat a little bit about that. So did I say welcome? I think I did. And I always like to start the show with a big thank you for connecting via the RAV group or Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media outlet, via YouTube, or if you chose to email me, thank you so much. This is getting very warm. I'll talk about this first, I guess. I know a little bit about myself as a podcaster, which is a couple things. One, I don't do a lot of craft-alongs and knit-alongs. I feel like there's so many out there in other, I don't even want to use the word popular podcasts, but more prolific podcasts. So there's a lot of ways to participate with your knitting. I have a little plan in the works with another podcaster right now for February and March, which I think will be fun. I don't do a lot of like prize giveaways, although that could change. So, you know, I know that sometimes maybe this is my own reflective piece about feeling stagnant. But really, I have, I don't know what I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's a little stream of consciousness thing. I just noticed that about our group, that when I was looking at other groups that I participate in, I was like, I don't really do that. But for right now, this is enough. I think the idea I have for the spring will be fun and just a little invigorating. And you're always welcome to comment and create discussion in the thread. So feel free to use that forum as you wish. I do check it and respond in as timely a fashion as I can. And I always appreciate seeing people making comments. So there was a thread about a book recommendation, which was great, which I have in my Kindle right now. It's called Casting Off. Dickerson, I think is the last name, but that came via some, I don't know if that came via Instagram or if it came, I think it came through the thread because I was talking about the Ganzis. So anyway, today on the show, that was a big tangent. Today on the show, I will have finished objects. I will have potential works in progress. I don't have anything on the needles, I know, because I finished everything today. I have spinning, and I have I have acquisitions, if you will, and that's really it. So let's get started, especially with this because I'm getting warm. I don't know if I can take this off while I'm filming, but this is the Stroker by Il Sol de Tigre. I knit this out of Nash Island yarns from Addison, Maine, Washington at Addison, Maine, and we did our first Fiber Trek episode on Nash Island, and you can see that on our YouTube channel. It's called episode 1. Anyway, I picked this yarn up when I was there for that, so I am stashing down like a mad woman, and I have more stash. I have a ton of stash that's going out of the stash and into the other stash, which is the sweater stash and the knitwear stash. I didn't make any modifications to this, except I went up a needle size. So I did this on a size US 8, my handy dandy converter, which is a 5mm. And I typically go up a needle size because I tend to be a tight knitter. But I got gauge, I got my stitch gauge, but I did not get row gauge. So I accommodated for that in in my shaping. So it's shaped. It is shaped in the waist and the bust area. So I accommodated for that. I got 6 rows to the inch, and I think the gauge is 7 rows. I may have talked about that. I can't remember. But anyway, this is done. I couldn't be more pleased. I love the color. I had the option of, I had a beautiful like Cordovan brown or red kind of color, like a deep burgundy color. So I thought about doing that, but I really liked the way the blue and the gold came out. And no other mods were made. I pretty much followed the pattern. I thought it was well written. This is Il-Soul Teak, and I will probably knit this again. It went very quickly. I did sleeves first as my knit gauge, and I saw a lot of beautiful projects on Ravelry in different varying color varying color variations, and I like that it's a bit of a smaller yoke, so the yoke doesn't start with where the arms come in, so it's a little bit of an elevated yoke, and I like that, and it was a quick knit, so I'm happy to have this off the needles. I think it's going to be a great wearable warm main sweater, and durable as well. And I think it looks rustic. This hasn't been blocked, so you can kind of see some of the inconsistency of my floats. I don't know if I can show you, but I think once it's blocked, it'll relax a little bit. I'm not going to block it to size. I'm just going to soak it, put it out to dry flat, make sure everybody's happy and in their spot and gets to bloom a little bit. Because it fits me. It's perfection. I mean, all of the sweaters I've knit, I've put them on and there's been a little bit of an adjustment or a little bit of like acceptance, like, yeah, that'll work. I can make it work. And, I hand knit this and therefore, but this, I put it on and I was like, oh my gosh, everything, the yoke fits right where it should, the neck's to the right height. I did, so it was magic. And Janie Estelle, who owns Starcroft Fiber, did a pop-up shop in New York City with Gail Zucker this past weekend, Vogue Knitting Live weekend, and Susan B. Anderson got to see her yarn and was posting about it, and I commented on one of her pictures. I was like, that yarn is magic and you need to stock up, and it is magic yarn. Like, my sweater is perfection, the yarn's perfection, colors are perfection. I was like, I had made a comment as well, like, and this will probably be the title of the podcast, which is, it was like Fey Knitting. I don't even remember. I did this I think I did this in 2 weeks, if that. So, I don't know what happened, but it was magic. So, anyway, I'm really excited about this. My other magic piece is, I finished Another Door Opens by Sarah Pomegranate, or Sarah Bauer of Yarns at Yanhu. I love it. It is also magic. I don't know if you're picking up any of the stitch definitions, so I'll see if I can get this was done out of an alpaca yarn, and I think it's a little bit smaller, and I knit it as on the gauge, on the needle suggested, which was a size 6, and that is also a 4mm, US 6. And so you can see it's a little bit smaller than I think some of the ones that are on the Rav page are. But I love it. It's very dainty. It's very, I don't know, dainty isn't the right word. What is the word I'm looking for? It's charming. And, but I like it because it still retains a little bit of like rusticity to it. So it grabs both that whimsy and rustic kind of style that appeals to me. So anyway, I hadn't had a chance to wear it yet, but I will. I've worn it around the home. I haven't worn it, hasn't made a public appearance yet. I entered this in Fibertown, has a thread for each month, this being January, for finished objects, and she does a drawing, so I was totally psyched. I get to enter 2 things this month, so that's great. And I think the sweater gets a double entry. I'll have to double check. So yeah, so that was a very enjoyable knit, the Another Door Opens. And I have some homespun that I finished out of a Corriedale Shetland that I hand combed and spun worsted, and I'm thinking I might attempt to do this pattern with that yarn. I don't know what happened. I just had like a little bit of a mind issue. So that's it for finished objects. So what I'm planning to work on, I have a couple, I mean, we're not going to mention the stocking here, right? Please don't. I think about that stocking, and for those of you who are just joining me, I haven't been working on it. I put it in hibernation, a stocking for my nephew, who is a year and a couple months. And my brother asked me to do this, and I said yes, reluctantly, because it's, you know, it's your family, it's your nephew, he's adorable, you want to participate in some way, but at the end of the day, I have to just realize that I am not a stocking knitter. And we've been through this psychological foo-foo before on the podcast. But anyway, that's there. And I know he wants me to finish it. The family is seeming to think that his wife, my sister-in-law, will do the rest of them. Because really, how hard could it be? So that's going to be their gig. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to be done. And I offered to make them out of felt, which I think is a much better medium, personally, because I like to do applique, and you can create little winter scenes, and you don't have to weave in all those intarsia ends. I know, I'm just whining now. But anyway. Oh, that's Bella. I don't know if you can see her. Nope. So I know that that's there. I'm just not ready to take it out. I have a friend who I need to knit for her baby, but I don't feel, she's due in April, and I don't feel that pressure to do that. So I'll probably try to pick that up in February sometime. So that being said, what I'm going to put on the needles is windswept. So I'm going to do another sweater. I'm going to see what takes. And I've been pretty monogamous, and I am a pretty monogamous knitter. I mean, I've got a pair of mittens that are in a bag that I haven't worked on in a while. But other than that, pretty much, and the stocking, pretty much other than that, everything, there's no works in progress. So I'm going to see which of these takes and then try to do them in order. But I'm going to work on Windswept by Emily Wessel. This is from her Handmade in the UK booklet. And I love this book. It's been reviewed a lot, and I would highly recommend it. She's got great patterns, very well thought out, very diverse amount of sizes, and the yarns that she uses are fun and exemplary of the pattern. So like this particular section, which is Scottish Highlands, the Scottish Wild, I want to knit every single one of those. So I have yarn for estuary. I can't remember this. I think this is inked. Nope, that's the name of the yarn I want to use. And then this hat. So I definitely found a lot of patterns which appealed to my aesthetic in here. So that's going to go on. And I'm going to use, sorry for the crinkling. This is Jamieson's Double Knitting. This, I believe, is the Fern colorway. Nope, this is Artichoke. And it's a very similar green to what I knit my Burnham Wood Capelet out of. It's not really helpful. Anyway, it's a mossy green, heathery green, and I had originally bought this to do the Burnham Wood Capelet by Romy Hill in, but it just didn't work for me, so I have about 1,300 yards of this, and I will have to rip out a previous project to get the last 300 yards, but the pattern calls for 1,100, but that gives me a cushion, so I'm excited about that. That sweater is knit seamlessly, and that has definitely played into some of my pattern choices lately. I have a couple in my queue that are knitted flat, knit flat, knitted flat, knit flat, and seamed. And my seaming is just not up to snuff, and I'm not 100% ready to invest in a beautiful, expensive farm yarns, or, well, even, whatever, any yarn that I can't get the result that I want. So I know at some point I'm going to take the plunge and do some seaming and work on my set-in sleeves, but I have really enjoyed the sweater I was wearing in my last podcast was Good No by Bonnie Sennett, and she does a knitted set-in sleeve, and I loved it, and I think it looks great, and it holds its shape, and it gives it structure. All those things that Amy Herzog says, the reason to have seams, I think that works. So, and I'm not at a point, maybe I am, I just haven't attempted it yet, where I'm like, yeah, I can merge that concept. I can use that technique on this sweater, so I can rework all of these concepts. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm excited about that. And then I'm going to cast on for Red Rock Canyon by Romy Hill. And that is this. Yes? No? Maybe? I got this to work last time. Anyway, it's a 2-color lace shawl. And I, at Highlands on the Fly this past year, picked up a couple skeins from my favorite yarn shop, which is One Lupin, and she's in Bangor. She brought this skein just for me because she knew I would buy it, gray. And this color. So this is a Promenade base, which I think I have one that's 50% merino, 25% yak, 25% silk, 2-ply fingering. It's 130. And then I have a merino wool silk 2-ply lace, 400 yards. This is the colorway Fig, and this is the colorway Lichen. I think that they'll work even though one is rated as a lace and one is rated as a fingering. So I'm going to cast on with those. I think I have enough to do that. So that's what's going on the needles next, and then we'll see, like I said. I also got some spinning completed. I had received as a lovely gift, I think I showed you the Cosmic Wonder Worms from Sarah Bauer of Yarns at Yanhu, and I got those spun up. And it's not going to really exemplify the color palette, but I did get that spun up. I'm going to chain ply this. I practiced chain plying with some leftover yarn from my Shetland Corriedale fleece, and I had a lot of success with that, so I'm going to do that with this to see if I can preserve some of the color runs. And then I'll probably use this as an accent in something coming up. I received this week in the mail a generous donation to the podcast, which was very much appreciated, from Kay Connors. I believe she's from the Southwest. I think it's Arizona. But she had come into possession of some stash, and so she had some bits and pieces that didn't necessarily work for her, so she was sending them along. So she sent us, oh rats, I just dropped the tag, some Stonehenge fiber. This is shepherd's wool from Stonehenge. That's very blue. It's retina searing, but it's really not that blue. It's darker, and it's lovely. So I'm going to be doing something with this in terms of a giveaway. It's a great farm yarn, so it would make a great, you could do a hat out of this, you could use it as an accent, you could do a lot with this. This is a worsted weight, and it is a special skein. I also received, which I love this color, and I don't know if it's going to show up. I don't recognize this yarn. I'm trying to put this stuff away before it becomes contaminated with dog hair. This is from Denmark. It's Coney, and it's 100% wool. It's 140 grams and approximately 400 meters. But I thought that the color, which it's more subdued than that, but it is in this tone or this hue. It's kind of heathery, and it's rustic. It will definitely hold its shape, and it will give you like this feeling of, all the great things that wool should do. But I love it, and I'll probably use this as a prize as well. Because it's a very striking yarn. So it's dense, and it's got some heft to it, or I guess they like to say tooth. But yeah, it definitely holds its own. So thank you so much for the donation. I look forward to being able to give away some more things. And one thing, I think a reason I don't particularly like doing giveaways is that I don't like just giving one person one thing. I don't know. People work hard on their knit-alongs and what they enter. I know that they get the reward of this, and I don't know. That's just me being slightly ridiculous, but it will be fun to have a little bit more activity in the group, and perhaps that will, what do they call that? Sweeten the pot. I think that's what it is. I was like sweeten the bait, but it's not bait that I'm going for. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will hopefully see you next week. I'm not promising every week, but I know that this week I did not have that much to offer. So next week, if I can get myself organized, we'll have the textiles in time, and you can see some of those works in progress once I get them on the needles. All right, and because I have no fancy dancy tagline, bye.